Hey everyone, Micah here with Electrek, and today we're reviewing the 630 electric rickshaw tricycle. The best way to move kids and adults around since, well, ever, in my opinion. Come along with us while we check it out. All it takes is one look at the 630 electric rickshaw to see that this isn't your typical electric trike. This is a purpose-built people mover, and I can tell you that it excels at it. That's a big and surprisingly comfortable bench and back designed to fit multiple riders. And I'm not only talking about kids either. You can easily get a couple adults back there as well. We'll talk more about those capabilities in a moment. Don't worry, it's coming up soon. This is only a 6-minute video. But first, let's check out the tech specs to understand what we're working with here. Due to the rear axle design, the motor sits up front on this bike. It's a 750 watt Bafang hub motor, and it has got a lot of power. The bike is rated for 500 pounds, and I can tell you that we exceeded that limit and it still pulled just fine. It's also surprisingly fast, at 20 miles per hour on throttle or pedal assist. Most electric trikes top out at 14 or 15 miles an hour for safety, but 630 lets you push this all the way up to the limit of Class 2 regulations. It even feels quite stable at full speed, but you'd definitely be well advised to slow down for the turns so you don't start lifting that outside wheel in the air. To ensure that it can still go the distance, even with the big load or while traveling fast, the battery is also quite large, to the tune of 48 volts and 21 amp hours for just over 1 kilowatt hour of capacity. That's just about the biggest battery you'll find on any retail electric bike on the market today, but it makes sense on such a heavy hauling electric rickshaw like this. Rounding out the electrical system is a set of LED lights in the front and rear, a cadence sensor for pedal assist, and an LCD display that even includes a USB-A connector so you can charge up your phone on the go. Now that brings us to the bike component side. The rickshaw rides on 24 by 4 inch fat tires, giving it some nice cushion for the pushing. For an even easier ride on you, there's a front suspension fork and a suspension seat post. Those won't help your passengers very much, but the cushioned seat and squishy tires make for a pretty decent ride back there. Plus, they're kids, they don't pay rent, who cares how their butts feel? Moving on, we've got a 7-speed Shimano tourney derailleur for changing gears, we've got mechanical disc brakes with a push-button parking brake on the rear brake lever, and we've got wide, swept-back cruiser handlebars. Some other non-standard bike parts that you won't find most other places are this cool storage compartment under the rear bench, which is great for putting the kids' backpacks or water bottles or sports equipment on the way to the park, and a seatbelt to hold the kiddos in. Though to be honest, that seatbelt kind of went unused for us most of the time, and you can unbolt it if you don't really use it yourself, but it's probably a good idea for young kids to keep them from hopping off when you don't want them to. There's also a surprisingly large foot deck area with a nice diamond plate design, giving your passengers plenty of room to rest their feet. So there's obviously a lot of thought that went into this cool design of an e-bike. Even so, you guys know me, and no bike is perfect in my eyes. So as I look around, I can still find some faults. First, the bike does take a while to assemble. It shows up in a giant box, and despite not being terribly complicated to assemble, it just takes a bit longer since there's a lot more to it. Even simple jobs like putting the fenders on takes longer due to the more complicated rear end. I'd wager you've probably got 45 minutes to an hour of work ahead of you if you're really handy, and perhaps up to a couple hours if you're a slow and steady weekend warrior kind of guy or gal. It's not bad, and if you can put together IKEA furniture, then you can assemble this rickshaw, but it won't go together in 20 minutes like a lot of e-bikes. Next, the thing is heavy, to the tune of 158 pounds. I rode in a few different places, and that meant I had to load the bike into a truck to get from site to site, and while it is possible to do it alone, it is not easy. I would recommend a team lift scenario. And lastly, the mechanical disc brakes seem surprisingly under-specced, especially for a nearly $3,000 e-bike. To be fair, I never felt like the brakes weren't powerful enough as it is, but stopping heavy loads means a lot of hard squeezing, which means a lot of cable stretch, which means you're going to need to be checking those brake cables a few times a month to make sure they don't need adjusting and tuning to stay in tip-top performance. Hydraulic brakes just would have meant a lot less routine maintenance, and also less hand strength required for stopping with a heavy load. But those issues aside, the bike is an incredibly fun way to get around with your family or friends. It has all the fun of riding with others, without the awkwardness of a two-seater tandem bicycle where you each get your own handlebars and pedals. This is more of a pedicab feel, which just adds to the ambiance. It makes for a fun riding vibe, and I really enjoyed it. And since the last thing the world needs is another SUV idling in the school drop-off lane, maybe it's time you became the coolest mom or dad in school and start dropping your kids off in style. I'm talking sweet, sweet three-wheeler style.
You voiceover, right?
Yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone. We hope you enjoyed that review of the 630 electric rickshaw trike. If you did, why don't you give this video a thumbs up? And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any of our future electric vehicle videos. We'll see you here next time.